with it in the hood with it. Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know. Tas. We get it in. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure that you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all. Whooping! We're about to get into the all-new Super Norteno. The new character is unlocked, Flex, and we're going to get straight to it, right? So this one, episode 2, is called The Violation, right? Not the assassin, but the violation. And let me tell you guys exactly what happened. As you've seen in the intro, him and a Bulldog dancing. But if you notice, the Bulldog was slightly bigger and bolder and even a little bit whooping colder than Flaco, right? But at the end of the day, man, sometimes when you have someone in your family that looks similar to you, that could get you in a whole lot of trouble. Hence, the violation, right? So let's get to it. So when I first started hanging around Fleco, I used to be at his pad all the time, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, I thought my family had it bad. Like, I thought the roaches coming out of the VHS tapes were like normal, right? For me, it's like, I told you, we didn't even kill roaches. We gathered them up and like, hey, we're going to watch a movie. You guys want to trip out? And they're like, whooping, right? So that's just how that was. But imagine going to a pad where you felt like you were being eaten alive. Usually roaches come on when you turn the lights on, they scatter everywhere. This fucking pad, his pad, palabra. This is not no lie. This is facts. The roaches they ran the asylum. You know, don't let the convict run the asylum. No, the roaches ran the asylum. You walked into that motherfucker and his jefita will be right there watching a novela. Hey, watch out. Look at, I'm watching TV. Don't fuck with me. She sounded like my tia, right? I'm watching TV. Okay, look, you see, you watch it. Look at that bitch. She got a big old ass, right? The roaches are right there on her shoulder, fucking massaging her and shit. It was crazy. They were deep. The homeboy's like, hey, bro, I Spencer, bro. You know what I mean? He's all embarrassed and shit. Like, we got a gang of roaches. I'm like, fuck. Hey, let's go in your room, bro, to get away from them. We get in that motherfucker. The roaches are at the door like fucking Debo. Hey, homie, you got your paperwork or what? I like straight up. I was like, fuck. Hey, you're eating and they're calling up the spoon. You got to flick them off the spoon when you take a bite. When you take the bite, the whole bite comes alive. It was different. So anyways, I used to be at his pad all the time. I start hanging out with them, but I'd be like, hey, bro. He'd be like, hey, you want to come in? Fuck no, right? You want to kick it out on the porch? In fact, let's go across the street. We'll just look at your house from over here. Straight up. Cold part was even the neighbors had roaches. Like, there was literally, this is how bad that house was. That literally they had, they have the neighborhood watch program. They had to get the whole community together to protest that house. Like, hey, hell no, the roaches won't go. Like, you got to get rid of this house. They burned that motherfucker down and the roaches ran to all the neighbors. Straight up. They say at the end of the world, only the roaches are going to survive. Well, the homeboys family are the ones that produced them. I bet you my grandmother's house had roaches that they're generational. They stem from them. That's how deep they were. These were like first generation roaches. Roaches with big old roaches and gray hair and shit. You know, the roaches in there dying their shit just for men. It was bad. So anyways, I'm hanging out with the homeboy a lot. And one day I'm at his pad and I'm trying to avoid, getting bit and shit. And I see someone walk from the room. Now, he always had a lot of family from everywhere that would come stay. And he had tios and tias that didn't speak English. They didn't speak Spanish. I don't know what the fuck they spoke, right? They spoke Roach. But they would come around. And I just was used to every time I went to his pad, someone new being there. It was kind of like one of those Arab stores that you go to, and they always got new dudes with turbans on just mean mugging you. Always. There's always a new dude working the counter. Like, where the fuck this dude come from? He's like, do you got connections on the TNT? No. Do you got connections on fucking half off this beer? Straight up. So he had a lot of family running around, and I'm not really tripping. And one day, like my homeboy, he had like the long Mongolian, but there was a long time when he just had the hair. He would have the Mongolian, it was chunky. Like I told you, it was so chunky, it stuck straight out. He'd have it like puffed down, right? And at that time, I had a little Mongolian crack, and it was a long one, but his was different. His was tongue poish, right? But it was all puffed out, so it looked like he had long hair until he pulled it back. And I used to hate that shit when motherfuckers had the hair right here, and then they pulled it back to the thing. I always thought that looked stupid, right? But his shit was all banged out, and he'd leave it down, and roaches crawling in it and shit. Fucking put it like this: roaches are so down in that house, they had red rags, straight up. So his hair's all puffed up. While I see somebody, I'm eating. He's like, hey, I'm gonna take a liquiazo real quick. All right, cool. I'm gonna be right here. Whooping, right? So he fucking jams to go take a piss, and I see someone walk by, and out of the corner of my eye, I see puffy hair. It's him, right? So I'm like, Flex, right? Because I want to tell him, hey, bro, there's roaches in the rice and shit. And so as this dude comes around, he's like, oh no, my primo's in the bathroom. It weird. You know how they say everyone has a doppelganger, like someone that's a twin? This Vato had the same curled up mustache, big old thick mustache, all curled up. He had the same puffy hair, all tatted down, fucking, but he was like a slightly bigger than Flacco, but it looked just like him, right? And I'm like, who the fuck is this, right? This is like the reincarnate, the better version of the homie. And he was like, oh, what's up, bro, right? Because Flax was missing a couple teeth, and we'll get to that later on, right? But I'm like, damn, what's up, bro? Where you from? He said, hey, my name's fucking Isaac, eh? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's my primo. I was like, oh, that's what's up, right? And I didn't hit him up like, where you from? I'm in the homeboy's house. It's his family, so you don't do that shit. But you could tell the homie's from somewhere. He's all blasted and whatever, right? And he got a shirt on, so you can't really tell he has a white beater on. So I was like, fucking, I'm eating, right? I'm trying to avoid, like I said, the infestation. The homeboy comes out. I was like, hey, who's your primo right there? He said, who, Isaac? He said, yeah, he's staying with us for a little while. That's my cousin and shit. I said, oh, that's what's up. He's a homeboy or what? And he was like, he got quiet. Now, one thing about Fleco, he's super ass Norteno. So everything is norte to him. Every fucking thing. Whooping, my roach is being norte. You know what I mean? We're going to use the voice. Fuck it. We're going to keep using it. Hey, fuck you, Ricky. We're going to use the voice, right? Whooping. So he's like, no, right? And he's all banged out. So when I asked him, he got agitated. You know when you ask a motherfucker something, they can't look at you in the eyes? And he's like eating roaches and everything. And I'm trying to blow my fist spoon, like, right? And the fool's eating. I'm like, he's like, let's go outside, bro. So I was like, hey, let's go get some pisto. Your fucking cousin want to drink with us? He's like, nah, that fool just be staying in his room all the time. And I'm like, kind of weird ass tweaker ass shit is that, right? Staying in his room all the time. So, anyways, after a little prodding and pushing, he's getting a little faded. We're sipping, right? And he's like, yeah, my primo, bro, he's staying with us, but I don't be taking him out around. I said, hey, that fool looks just like you, fool. Like twins. He goes, yeah, our brothers. Our dads are brothers, right? And I was like, yeah, that motherfucker looks just like you, just like more healthier and probably can pull more bitches. Like, but you know what I mean? Whooping no, right? So, anyways, he tells me, hey, my primo's from Fresno. Automatically, I'm like, this motherfucker's a Bulldog. That's why, right? I don't trip because I got a lot of Bulldog homeboys. Well, at that time I didn't. I was super active, but I knew about the dogs, right? And in my neighborhood and in my area, man, we just look. I'm gonna be honest with you, Merced. I got homeboys that are doing life in prison for killing bulldogs, right? And you didn't see very many of them in the town. There was a couple of them that were well known, but it wasn't like they were from Merced. They just had brothers that were homeboys, and they just happened to be passing through, right? But when they passed through, sometimes they didn't pass through no more because homeboys was tearing shit up. One thing about my town is being in the Central Valley, we know about the dogs, right? And we knew that the dogs were the enemigos, and that was it, period. And so I'm like, damn, bro. I was like, hey, yeah, you can't take him to the hood. He's like, hell no, fool, this north. He knows what time it is. He knows what's up. I'm like, bro, you ain't doing shit to him, bro. That motherfucker was walking around with a tank top on, flexing on motherfuckers, right? He was just stepping on roaches as he walked, and I know your mom likes him. So anyways, he's like, yeah, but that's my primo's cool. So I'm not tripping off of him. I know he's a dog. And I'm telling you, when the dude see me, he didn't seem like he was a sucker or nothing. Just he's aware. He knows not to go outside, right? And he wasn't PC'd up in his room, but he was kind of. So anyways, I'm there. We drink whatever. I'm like, all right, bro, I'm in the jam. He's like, hey, don't tell none of the homeboys about him or nothing. I said, damn, fool, stop being a weirdo, right? Fucking, it's just your cousin, man, and shit. I got cousins that are Southsiders, bro. He's like, yeah, but you don't be telling everyone about him. Shit, one of these days in the future on YouTube, I will. Right? So anyways, I jam. I'm not even tripping. It was what it was. Like I said, man, it wasn't that serious. I got a little serious. So what happens is fucking his primo gets faded, gets high, and goes out and about. Hooks up with some chick and ends up catching a little case, right? Nothing too major, like possession of stolen property or whatever. And so I remember going to Flecko's house, and I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? What's up with your primo? You still staying here? He's like, nah, fool's locked up in the county. And I was like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen a Bulldog in Merced County Jail. Like, I don't even know where they would put them, right? You would think in the bubble, but there's like Northerners that are in the bubble too. Like, I don't know where they would put them. So when you first go in Merced County Jail, right when you walk in, they have the booking. It's on the left, right? They usually put you in a couple holding cells, like to wait until you're housed. And most people, I'm not even going to lie, unless you got like a murder case or something big, or you're a well-known active gang member, they'll put you on the block. You stay downtown. But for the most part, most dudes are going out to Sandy Mush, which was the camp, the road camp, right? That's just how it is. I've been to both. And so on your right-hand side, there's a couple holding tanks, but then there's like cells further down. And it's just, I mean, it's in the front of the county jail, like right when you walk through the fucking door, when the cops are booking you in. That's like super, I guess, PC. That's where they keep the dudes that are very high profile that they can't put anywhere else. Hence, they put him over there because he's a bulldog, right? Like I said, man, it's very rare for a dog to be locked up in the Merced County Jail. That's like your love is a 1 in a million. You just, right? It's 1 in a million. So, anyways, I guess that's where they placed him in the county jail. Well, here's where the game gets super different, right? So I always got a lot of younger homeboys that come in and out of the county, you know, for whatever, man, bar fights, getting caught with dope, whatever. Most dudes are booked and released unless you got a heavy charge, right? There has been some instances where homeboys come in for stealing the car, doing something stupid, and then they do a removal or they catch a body on the block, and then they never go home, right? So everyone got that thuggish, ruggish attitude. It just is what it is. Or that roachy attitude, like if you're coming from the homeboy's house, which is what Flex mostly had. So his cousin's locked up in the county, and they placed him in that first holding, like one of the first holding cells, right? And I guess to identify him, they had a picture of him, like on his door. And I had never seen this before. Mind you, when you go to the Merced County Jail, the blocks are different. It's like they don't have, there's 8-man cells and it's old school bars, old shit, like movie shit, right? But up in the front, it's like newer cells, like prison style, you know, like a 270 building type fucking style cells. It's whatever. It's like a fucking big iron door. So it's not bars and shit. So anyways, I guess they placed his picture on a card and it said Bulldog on it, right? Like letting the cops know, like keep him away, keep him segregated. This is a Bulldog. It's going to be trouble, right? For everybody, him and anyone that gets involved with him. And so they bring in one of the little homies. He gets caught up, right? It was him and his crimey, some Asian cat. And they come in, and I guess the first 3 tanks are holding tanks. So they don't really segregate you in the holding tank unless you're like a Southerner. Then they have their own little holding tank, right? But most Northerners will go in with the blacks, the whites, like GP, general population. It's the way it is. And they'll put Southerners with blacks and whites, but in a separate pod, right? In a separate tank. So anyways, that they put him in the 3rd tank because the first one's for Southerners. The second one is filled. So they put him in the 3rd, and they have him against the wall right there in cuffs. And when he's cuffed, he looks up and he sees Bulldog and he sees the homie, Isaac, right? And he knows Fleco. And he's like, what the fuck, right? So, boom, he just sees it real quick, and they unhandcuff him. They throw him in. So he's not supposed to communicate with anybody up there. Like, you don't do that. You don't talk to the opposition. You don't say, hey, what's up, homie? You don't, none of that. So his first instinct was like, fuck, there's phones in all of them. They're free. You can call your people. So he calls homies and he's like, hey, bro, you're never going to guess what's going on here. It's weird, right? He said, you know the homeboy Fleco, right? And Fleco's known. Like I said, his family is well known. Grimy, right? Everyone knows he's the super Norteno, right? He's like that one. He's like, hey, bro, that fool's running Bulldog in here now. And he's telling everyone this on the phone. He's telling homies this, right? Poor Fleco. That's not Fleco. That's his primo, but he looks just like him. Just, like I said, a more puffier version of him, but looks just like him. And so the little homie's convinced, hey, that's Fleco, bro. I know what I seen. And he wasn't wrong. He thought he never met his cousin. No one knows, right? Just seen it said Bulldog, and that was him. And so, anyways, it's about a week later. We're mobbing, right? Fleco had a beater ass car. It was a little Cutlass Supreme, an 86 Cutlass Supreme, or 87 Cutlass Supreme. I used to have one too on gold ones back in the days, but his was yonke, straight. That motherfucker was junk. So that's all it played. That beat right there. The car was so dumb it had its own theme song. And so that motherfucker be flamed up. He had red rags around the fucking mirror. And he's just fucking with his arm hanging out because he has a weather guy bird tattoo right here. His arm hanging out. He's cruising. Whopping, right? Just fucking mobbing. And everyone's like, hey, what's up, Flex? He'll just keep on pushing, right? So anyway, I trip out, right? Like I said, his family is very well known. If I say their last name, everybody on earth will know exactly who I'm talking about in Merced. Facts. There's already dudes guessing, and some of them hit it already. I'm just not going to say who. Anyways, I learned my lesson on that shit. Next, you know, the haters be getting at him and shit. Hey, let's do a fucking interview, eh? He said your cousin's a fucking beat up Bulldog, right? So I already know. And he said you got a lot of roaches, eh? He's making fun of you. Yeah, well, fuck. I mean, if you're making fun of people with roaches, then you must have not ever had any, because that's familia. So We're cruising. And there's homies right there, and they're on bikes and shit. They're younger homies, 18, 19, 20 years old on bikes and shit. I don't even know why I wanted a gangbang. And so they're right there, and they see, and they're like, we're like, what's up? And Fleco's like, all hard, whopping. And they're like, hey, pull over, pull over. So we pull over, and one of the homies is like, hey, bro, the homies want to get at you at the park. Well, we have a park called the Dead End Park, right? Don't no one go to that shit. Look, you ever had a hood park that really, it's in the middle of the neighborhood. That's a fact. No one could deny it. There's the Dead End store, catty corner to the store. There's the Dead End Park, and it don't even got a slide. It's got a bench and a barbecue pit. That's it. That's all I remember from that motherfucker. That is it. The park is right in the neighborhood, like meaning there's houses with wooden fences, and then there's like some grass with a fucking barbecue pit that doesn't work and a bench all tagged up. That's our whole hood park, right? But back in our days, it was like, yeah, we're doing big things. We got the Dead End Park. But it wasn't, it ended on a dead end. There was nothing there. But they're like, hey, the homies want to see you at the park and shit. Fleco's like, whopping, they want to see me? What? They want to see me, man? Right? And I'm just right there like, not tripping on it. We're not tripping. So we pull around, and there's like four or five homeboys, like our age, right? Sitting there, and it's a couple homeboys that are well known. And I'm like, what's up, bro? What's up? I jumped off the whip, and he jumps off. They're like, hey, Fleco, what's up with you, bro? Did you just get out? Now, mind you, he had just got out of Tracy like 2 months before. And one thing about Mexicans is if it's a year or less, we just got out. Okay, that's just a fact. Ask any fucking Sureño, Norteno that's got out within 18 months. We'll just extend it a little bit. Within 18 months, if they just got out, they'll say, yep. I guarantee it. They'll never say, oh, yeah, I got out 7 months ago, homie. I'm doing good. No. Up until about 18 months, maybe even 2 years, right? You ask them, hey, you just got out there? Be like, yeah, I just got out. Right? That's it. Because we're just so happy we're not just went in, which usually happens around that time. Around the 18-month mark is when we start getting a little crazy, you know what I'm saying? And it just gets different. So anyways, the homie's like, hey, you just got out and shit? And he was like, yeah, just got out, whop in, right? They're like, hey, the little homeboy fucking, the word going around, bro, you were in there running Bulldogs in the county. He was like, I fucking wasn't running Bulldogs in the county, right? We're not even putting 2 to 2 together. I'm hearing it. I'm like, what? Motherfucker, I'll suck in your head, right? He's like, whop in, homie. You know me. I was, yeah, I don't know. I thought I did. Well, what the fuck is going on here, Mr. Red Suspenders? This motherfucker jumped out the whip looking like a Boulevard Knight. Straight up. Creases from his eyes down. He's creased up, right? Got chooch like. And I mean, just with the red feather and everything. Like, I don't even know where he got the red peacock feather. Like, he must have dyed that shit. Red rag sewn in. Fucking says his name in his neighborhood. Like, he's just straight Norte gang, right? Sur gang, Norte gang. And he gets off whopping, homies, whopping. Well, we're going to tell you whopping. We're going to give you a big old ass whopping right now because fucking you're fucking up. So he's like, nah, he's convincing them. They're like, yeah, bro. He's like, I'm a homie. Fuck that. I'm always run homies, right? Then it dawns on me. I'm like, oh, your primo Isaac's locked up, fool. They seen your primo Isaac, and he's telling everyone, no, I got a primo, looks just like me. And they're like, all right. So they're getting it. Okay, so it's like cleared up. No one's going to get their ass whopping. Everything's cool. We go on about our business. He's like, man, I'm going to snatch up the little homie that said that. I'm going to beat his ass. I'm going to beat his fucking ass. This is Norte. Right, like, calm down. I'm still here. I see you. So we go to his pad, and his mom's like, what are you guys doing here? Like, trying to step over all these roaches. To fucking leave them alone. They're not bothering you. Why are you bothering them? Right, so we make it through the jungle to his room. And he's like, my fucking primo, bro. What did he do? I said, you can't blame him. He's a dog, right? So we don't know exactly if he got into it with the homies or whatever. We found out the story later from the little homie when Fleco caught him and beat his ass. So we'll get to that. So Fleco's pacing his room. He's like fucking, it's like being in the, remember in the movie Friday, Smokey's room? Where he's all fucking, but imagine a room like that with weed plants everywhere and everything, red banos and fucking northern everything. And a gang of roaches crawling all over the homeboys. Just disrespecting the banos. Have you ever seen a red bonnet with a gang of roaches crawling on it? Well, I have. And I'm here to tell you, it was disrespect. I was like, shake that motherfucker. I was like this, straight up, watch. Shake that motherfucker out, eh? Right? Still got the old school one. That's for my Woody shrine. Anyways, the homeboy's right there, and we're shaking shit out. He's like, I'm going to catch that homie. So we're cruising around. We're by the Merced Mall. And I remember we run into a homeboy from Loft, bro. And he was an older homeboy that I had been locked up with in prison. And I see him, and mind you, our neighborhoods don't really get along. Fleco's not from my neighborhood. He's just from the West, right? But my neighborhood and this other neighborhood, they don't get along. There's history, right? But it is what it is. I know the homeboy, we get along because we're on some Norteno above everything else shit. So we're chopping it up when we see the little homeboy cruising by in a whip. Fleco just takes off and leaves me. And I'm right there in front of the mall fucking with like 3 dudes from Loftboro. They're a gang called Loftboro, Northside Merced, right? So I'm like, oh shit, don't leave me. They might play the role. So I'm chopping it up. So they're like, all right, homie. They shake my hand or we're gone. And they jam. And I'm right there. There's like a Baskin Robbins that's inside the mall. You got to step inside. And I'm right there in front of the Baskin Robbins looking all stupid. And Fleco goes around the fucking, he's going around like over the speed bumps. Boom, boom. And I just open the car door and jump in. Like, where are you going, fool? He's like, I'm looking for the little homie, fool, that one that talks shit. So we catch him. And he flags him down like, hey, stop. And the little homie's all scared because he's already been told, like, you fucked up, bro. You're spreading rumors, right? And so he's like, fuck it, though. At that time, there was an old school Chuck E. Cheese. Back in the days, then it went to Hometown Buffet, and then it just switched up. So we go right there in that parking lot, and there's always a gang of white people right there, so you don't really want to do too much, but you do, but you don't, right? But we pull him there, and Fleco don't give a fuck. He gets out, and he hits a spinner like that. Right? And he gets over, he's mobbing over there like this. Whooping! All right? Hey, what'd you tell him, right? He's like, that's my primo. And so he's doing that. And he slaps the fuck out of the homie. And I'm like, hey, bro, you can't do that. But this was like way back in the day. This is like 1996, 97. So this is pre, like the way it is now where it's red on red and all that. Back then you could slap the fucking homie, shut up, bitch, right? And do all that. And then grab him with the red bonnet and choke him, right? You know what I mean? You could do all that. Take their red bonnet. I'm taking this, and mob, right? But you can't do that now. You're not supposed to, really. They do, but you can't. And so Fleco fucking slaps him up a few times and, hey, fool, don't you ever fucking. And I'm like, man, if he only fucking just swings back, Fleco's going to go flying. This motherfucker didn't never win a fight barely, right? He was a super Norteno. He'll fight you, but he was worse than me. He didn't win ever. Well, a couple times. We'll get to all that. But anyway, so he's choking the little homie out. The little homie's like, no, hey, I forgot the other. Hey, I look just like you. But this is what happens. Flaco ends up catching a violation. I don't know for what, right? Like about a couple months later. His primo got with that chick, and they went to Fresno, went to his pad because he couldn't make it in Merced. And I forgot all about it. I never seen the motherfucker again until about a year later. And we're going to tell those stories later, right? Because it was different. But, hey, he actually fucked Brianna. Oh, you think Brianna don't exist? We'll get to all that, right? So anyways, the homeboy gets locked up, and I'm just chilling and shit. And he does 3-month violation. When he gets out, he tells me a story, and he's like, hey, bro, fuck, eh? Right? I'm like, what happened, bro? The fucking homeboys almost dropped me right there, Holmes. I'm like, what been? He was like, fool, that fucking rumor hit Tracy, and they thought I was a fucking Bulldog, bro. And even the cops tried to put me in K-Wing under Bulldog. That shit plagued him the whole time. Homeboys are tripping, like they were gonna remove him. He had to talk his way out of it. I can see him trying to talk. Well, Ben, I didn't fucking do that. Eh? I'm not a Bulldog, I promise. All right. Anyways, man, hey, he caught the violation. He said it was a violation he'll never forget. He said for the whole 3 months they had him in K-Wing, all fucked off. Homeboys were walking around fucking doing the right, because the homeboys used to do that back in the day. You know how bulldogs bark. The homeboys were right. So he said he was getting it bad, man. Anyways, he got out, caught up with the little homeboy again, and this time tried to choke the little homeboy out, but I guess someone pumped him up. The little homeboy was prepared to beat his ass. It was crazy. Anyways, with that being said, man, that's why don't judge a book by its cover. You might think it's the homie. I've been there before, man, where I seen the homeboy pass by. I'm like, hey, I fucking don't like this one. He turns around, and I said, oh, yeah, you got more teeth than I remember last time. It was like his brother or something. Anyways, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. If you like these videos, hit a 1. Whooping! We're really going to get into it, man. Hey, next video, I need to introduce his moms and his sisters because, hey, ever had a threesome? Well, tell you next time. Bang, bang.